Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Sri Matre Namaha. Namaste all. First of all, congratulations for those of you all who completed the Maha Ganapati Sadhana before coming to this last step of Puruscharana, which is the Homa. For most of you, this is the first time sitting for extended periods of time at altar space and have been having good time learning Maha Ganapati Upasana, which comes the first for any aspiring Sri Vidya Upasakas. I will try to make another video detailing significance and the philosophy behind the Homa, but in this video I want to focus exclusively on the preparatory steps that we need to have everything ready before we start our weekend group Homa sessions from tomorrow. The book that I shared with all of you a month back details all the items like the samagri, samidhi, and what all you need to start performing Homa. But in this video I want to show you where things go and how they look like, and so that you will get comfortable, because most of you this is first time. Also, even though currently we are discussing the Homa procedure for Maha Ganapati, the preparatory steps are common for remaining deities as well, that we'll be covering in the further levels of the Sri Vidya. And here we go. First and foremost, let's start with putting an aluminium foil on the floor before we put anything. This will make our task a lot easier while we start cleaning up after completion of the Homa. Because once we start offering the ghee oblations, that will start putting some stains on the floor. So aluminium foil is just very easy to wrap it up and it saves a lot of time. Next up here, what we have is a metal plate filled with rice grains. This is actually for two purposes. One is to give stability to the Havan Kund that you are seeing in the video, which doesn't have any legs, and the rice gives a good stability, as well as also act as a heat shield to protect the floor that's underneath the Havan Kund. And this is Havan Kund. As you see, it's about 1.3 feet by 1.3 feet, and this could be a little bigger for a one-person Homa. And since I use this for a group Homa where we do Chandi and few other longer parts, we use a little bigger size. But for one person or even for 2 or 3 persons, this is too big. So you can have the regular size that's available in the market, and any size is fine. And we now place it on top of the rice plate that we placed earlier. And this is the cow ghee in a liquid form, and try to keep it as close as possible to the Havan Kund so that you don't have any drips falling on the floor. And this is a wooden ladle that we use to offer ghee from the ghee container into the Havan Kund once the Homa, the Ahuti start. And this is what we're going to use. And here is the kitchen prongs that will be very handy to adjust the samidhi or samagri within the Havan Kund when the Homa starts. And here we have the samidhi. As you see in the bowl, I have a pieces of dried coconut heart and 2 cow dung pieces. The reason we use these two, or either of these two, doesn't have to be both, you can just use either one of them, is that they generate significantly less smoke than wooden pieces that you see outside Homa. And since during these challenging pandemic times we cannot afford to go much to the temple or be outside with the gathering, so we just try to do it indoors. And these will be very, very handy, as you will notice starting next week. So the first one here, what you see is the dried coconut pieces. And typically if you are just planning for 1 hour, even 1/4 of a complete dried coconut is sufficient. Here comes the cow dung patties. These are pretty small, as you can see in the picture, and depending on size you can see, and also depending upon how big of a flame you can afford in your room, you can use so many the cow dung pieces. And the one key difference between the cow dung and the coconut is that The cow dung, they just keeps going as long as you have the ghee pouring it on it, versus dried coconut will last long as well, but at one point it will disintegrate and you may have to add a few pieces of coconut extra. And this is the light from where we're gonna start the fire, and we are adding some camphor here. And a quick note about camphor is it will be very important to have next to you even little more quantity, because when the fire is so weak or it's just about to go off, you can always add camphor right away and that will instantly pick up the fire. And this is a matchbox as a backup. And next one is the darba grass that will be used to draw the lines as indicated in the Homa manual that I shared with you all. This is a kalasha with the water, and you can see a small flower inside. You can either use a flower or a small spoon to use the water from the kalasha. This is the samagri to offer in the Homa, and the combination of the samagri is the number 2, which is the barley, rice and ghee and so on forth. That has been listed detailedly in the manual. You can refer to that. This contains the items required in the Lam Ityadi Pancha Puja, and which we do right after the Avahana Mudras that we show in the Maha Ganapati Homa. Incense stick, a holder for camphor, puja bell, this is the Naivedya which we offer during the Lamityadi Pancha Puja, and also you can have a few dried raisins which we can offer during the Bali or the gift offering step towards the end of the Homa. Milk for offering Tarpanam. Last but not the least, a lot of devotees have been sharing their concerns about the smoke while doing the Homa indoors, and I would like to just bring all of your attention towards the kitchen just for a little fun time. And the reason behind, or the logic behind having a good Homa with less smoke is the same as how we do cooking, where when you put too much ghee or oil, you see the smoke coming, or if you put too much the food but no oil or no ghee, you will still see smoke. So it's kind of a very delicate balance between both of them. So you will get to know that as you do more Homa, but certainly in Homa with less smoke, I wouldn't say completely like zero smoke, you will have something for sure, but say that it won't raise alarms is what we are targeting at. So that is totally possible if you just control the ghee and the samagri and the samedhi that you offer, and you will get to learn all of this as you practice more. Sri Matre Namaha.